Hey guys, welcome back to Teatox Tuesday. Okay, today it's actually Wednesday, but normally it's a Tuesday, so we'll stick with Teatox Tuesdays. Today we're going to focus on something that I'm super passionate about, and that's our gut health. And gut health has become sort of a trend over the past couple of years, and it's a term that you've probably heard thrown around, but I can promise you this, that improving your gut health and focusing on your gut health is not just a trend like another diet trend you come across. It is a legitimate, scientifically backed way to improve your overall health by focusing on your gut health. So I've had some questions over the past couple of weeks about our gut health, how we can improve our gut health, and specifically maybe what teas we can drink that would help with our overall gut health. So I do want to talk about that today. But first, I want to focus on our guts at a very high level. It can get really scientific. It can get very complex. But I want to give you that high level overview of how our guts work so that you understand what's happening when we experience some of these symptoms. So I want you to think of your gut almost as the capital city of your temple, right? You've heard it before, your body is your temple. So if that's the case, think of your gut as the capital city of everything you've got going on inside of you. Sorry if you hear the dog barking. She gets a little rambunctious, especially this time of night. You can also think of your gut as your second brain. And it truly is a brain when you start to look at the science behind it. So your gut has hundreds of millions of neurons that actually communicate with your brain, and they tell your brain what to do, believe it or not. And your gut also produces neurotransmitters, and those are things like serotonin, which we know serotonin, the levels of serotonin can really help boost our mood. So your gut is like your second brain. It's communicating with your brain, and all in all, it's one whole system working together. And that's why our gut health is important when it comes to our overall health and well-being. Now, you can think also of your gut as your ultimate warrior. It protects you from disease. Now, we ingest a lot of food and a lot of drink every single day. And unbeknownst to us, when we're ingesting this food, we're ingesting germs and bacteria and things that we don't necessarily want to ingest, but we are, right? And these things are going to travel through our digestive tract. And eventually, ultimately, they're going to meet that ultimate warrior in the ring, our gut, right? And when it gets into our gut, it's here that our body determines what exactly it's going to do with the food that we've ingested. Now, what we're hoping is that our gut is in balance, right? We're hoping that the acidity or the balance of our gut microbiome, which is made up of good and bad bacteria, is balanced enough that it's going to destroy any of the foreign bodies that come into it, right? Now, our guts have nearly 100 trillion beneficial bacteria cells. These are also known as probiotics that work to protect us. But we have what we call good gut flora, good gut bugs, and we have bad gut bugs. And when our bad gut bugs outnumber our good gut bugs, we start to experience a lot of digestive upset, right? But when we eat a diet that's high in vegetables, high in fruits, whole foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, seeds, nuts, healthy fats, we actually strengthen the good gut bacteria that we have, the probiotics, which you've heard that term before. And those probiotics help to break down fiber and complex sugars, and they help our bodies make vitamin K, folic acid, vitamins B12. They keep our bowel movements moving and regular. They decrease inflammation. And they also help to modulate our immune systems, which, given the state of today's society, is important, right? With all the virus stuff going around. And they help support a healthy metabolism. So it's important to have a lot of good gut flora or good gut bugs, which we can accomplish through a healthy whole foods type of diet. Now, our digestive system is made up of our upper GI tract, and then we also have our lower GI or gastrointestinal tract, right? So your upper tract is essentially the path from your mouth to your stomach. And believe it or not, the digestive process begins before you even put food in your mouth. So what happens is, let's say, for instance, we see a colorful salad, right? And we look at that. Our body's going to respond to just that visual sighting of that bowl of salad. So what we hope is that we have a positive response, right? We hope that we look at that and we're like, ooh, that looks so good. So what happens at that point, before you even put it in your mouth, digestive enzymes begin forming. And don't forget, your gut is your second brain. So see, we don't even have food in our mouth yet, but our gut's already looking at the food and saying, that looks mighty good, right? So when we actually start eating the salad, we actually amplify that process that already started when we first looked at the salad. And we're going to start chewing that food, mix it with saliva, break it down, and it's going to start to travel through our digestive system, right? But something else is happening right now too. Before it even goes through into the stomach, our taste buds and other cellular sensors that we have going on are actually sending signals, what I like to say, down south to our ultimate warrior, to our gut, telling it what type of food it is and what digestive enzymes, what chemicals it's going to need to break down that food, right? So here, our gut, which is our second brain, is communicating with other parts of our body, trying to figure out what it's going to do with the food that you're ingesting. And all of that happens just initially before it even gets into your digestive tract. It's pretty amazing. So in order to get the most out of the food that you're eating, it's important to chew your food and chew it slowly. And you've probably heard it before. You're eating too fast. You're eating too fast. There's a reason for that. If you eat it too fast, right, your body doesn't have time to respond. It doesn't have time to break it down and really figure out what to do with it. And also what that can do is you end up eating a lot more than you need to because you're not giving your body a chance to respond and tell you, oh, hey, my gut tells me I'm full, and it's going to send a signal to the brain. But if we're eating so fast and consuming so much food at such a high rate, you're not going to have or give your gut a chance to communicate with your brain to tell it, oh, hey, you're full, right? So that can happen as well. Now, this whole process of breaking down your food and what enzymes are needed, and oftentimes people will take 25 different supplements to try and fulfill the needs of the body, right? To try and fulfill all of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients and things that our bodies need that we could actually get out of the food that we're chewing and eating if we're eating a whole foods type diet. What happens though, these pills, they skip over all of that pre-digestive stuff that I just talked about. They don't give your body a chance to say, oh, hey, what do I need to do with that, right? And so supplements in pill form tend to be poorly absorbed by our bodies, and then they don't get everything out of it that they really need to get out of it. Liquid forms, however, tend to be better because in a liquid form, it's engaging all of our senses, right? It's engaging everything up front. And so it's able to enter our bloodstream before it ever even hits our stomachs. So you're getting a lot more out of it in liquid form. So liquid form could be things like tea. Surprising, right? Teas. So there are liquid forms of vitamins, which could be preferred over a pill form. And just so you guys know, and I'm not going to get into this today, not all vitamins are created equal. You could do a lot of research on it, but just know that not all vitamins are created equal. Sometimes they can be filled with things that you'd be surprised about. So anyways, that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, so there are herbs and foods that we call bitters. And these bitters help to normalize that stress response to food when we see it. So we talked about before it even enters our mouth, our bodies are determining what's it going to do with it, right? So bitters almost turn on your GI tract, right? They kind of tell it, okay, it's time to work. And they offer a bunch of other health benefits as well. But they're especially great for sluggish digestive systems. And examples of bitters include things like artichoke leaves, dandelion leaf, dandelion root, burdock root, turmeric, which is also a great anti-inflammatory spice, ginger, which I love ginger, schizandra, citrus peel. Let's see. Trying to think. I do have these jotted down because I don't ever remember them. Bitter salad greens, so things like arugula, kale can be considered more of a bitter salad green. Sour foods that tend to function like bitters, so these are going to be things like fermented foods or vinegar-based foods, pickled produce, so like pickled beets and things like that, even citrus juice. Then there's relaxing bitters, and these are things like chamomile and lemon balm and holy basil. But most bitters are cooling by nature, so you can pair it with a warming herb like ginger, cinnamon, or even cardamom to balance it out. So what you'll find a lot in teas is they take a lot of these things and mix them together to get many benefits to really get your digestive system moving. Now, as you know, there's a lot of issues, a host of issues associated with an imbalanced gut. And typically this happens when you have way more bad bacteria than you do your good bacteria or your good gut flora going on in your gut, right? And these can be things like heartburn, reflux, ulcers, gastritis. You might have leaky gut, inflammatory bowels, diarrhea, constipation, all of these symptoms that are just so uncomfortable, right, for us, and they get to be annoying after a while. And we can use what we call demulcents, and demulcents can help heal our gut lining. And what they do is they form almost a protective coating or a protective mucus on the tissues that soothe, on our gut lining, our gut tissues, that gut lining, and they help soothe and promote healing of your gut. So examples of these are marshmallow root, slippery elm, aloe energel or even aloe juice, licorice root, which you'll find a lot of licorice in teas, violet leaf, even oatmeal can be a good demulcent. And then these are also helpful, but they're a little less slimy, so they're not going to coat the gut lining quite as much as the ones I've already mentioned, but things like plantain, yarrow, St. John's wort, chickweed, and even calendula. So again, those help really with your gut lining, okay? Now, if you experience gas and bloating, which is often very representative of an imbalanced digestive system, and a lot of the times it's gas, it's bloating, it's diarrhea, it's I'm eating and I'm running to the bathroom and I don't know what to do about it, right? Or you can just feel sort of that upset imbalance or acidity in your stomach. These symptoms are indicative of your gut being really out of balance, right? Having more bad bacteria than good bacteria. But if you started to transition to a more whole foods diet, you may experience some of these symptoms as well, because as you start to introduce some of the foods, good fiber-filled foods, your body's got to learn how to break those down and what to do with them, and you can experience some of those symptoms as well. So it's kind of twofold. If you're experiencing them, it could be because you're out of balance and you need to get it back in balance, and they can occur as you're transitioning from your standard American processed packaged diet into a whole foods diet. But anyways, there are ways to help with those symptoms, especially through tea. And we can use things called Carminatives. And these are herbs and spices like fennel, ginger, and peppermint. And what they can do is help relax some of that cramping that you might experience in your intestines that can be uncomfortable. They can help move some of that gas and that bloating feeling a little more comfortably through your system. I will say this though, if you have reflux or you've got like tissue damage going on internally, which you would know through working with your primary care physician, you'll want to use Carminatives with care. So I'll just kind of throw that out there. And the other thing I want to throw out there, just so you guys are aware of sort of upfront, is any of these teas that I'm going to mention, they are not meant to diagnose, to treat, to care for any sort of disease or ailment, right? They're simply meant to help guide and aid and heal with some of the symptoms that we experience through these things. But they're not meant to treat or diagnose anything whatsoever. So I just want to throw that out there, make sure you guys understand that. But if you have reflux or severe tissue damage, you should approach Carminatives with care. And you'll know when you consume them whether or not it's good for you or not, because your body's going to let you know right away, okay? But examples of Carminatives are going to include lemon balm, thyme, holy basil, cardamom seeds, peppermint, fennel, let's see, bee balm, lavender, dill, and ginger. And ginger is probably one of my favorites because it almost acts like a digestive bitter, and it helps to warm up your slow digestive system. It's going to promote good bacteria. It's going to kill the gut pathogens that we don't want in there. And it's going to also work to relieve gas, pain, and bloating. So ginger, I love using ginger in tea, especially because it's such a great way to consume it. Fresh ginger is great, especially in soups, broths, things like that, if you can do fresh ginger as well. Ginger also decreases inflammation. It boosts your detoxification of your liver and your waste in your body, reduces blood sugar, improves insulin sensitivity, increases circulation, it fights respiratory infections, and just much more. It's just such a powerful herb, spice, right? Ginger. So I'm going to talk about that here in just a second too, but we have covered a lot, okay? So there's so much to talk about when it comes to the gut, and those were just some of the more high-level things that I wanted to mention to you, because the herbs and spices that you can use to aid in your gut health, they can help in your upper GI tract, they can help with your lower GI tract, they can help with healing a damaged gut, they can help with stimulating your digestive system and getting your digestive system moving. They can help with inflammation and all of these things in your guts, right? So all of those ingredients and spices that I mentioned are helpful when it comes to your gut health. And Sipology has some really, really great teas that you can incorporate as part of your overall gut health routine. And before I even talk about the teas, though, I am going to say this. All in all, what can you do to help balance your gut microbiome? Here's what you can do if you're not already. Start eating more of a whole food diet. That means eating more vegetables, more fruits, more whole grains. Whole grains are things like quinoa and brown rice and barley and millet, things that you maybe would never even think about cooking. Those are going to be your good whole grains, nuts and seeds and healthy fats, right? So more whole food, plant-based foods are really, really going to help balance out your gut microbiome. The standard American diet, which is highly processed, packaged, full of sugars, simple carbs. Simple carbs are things like potato chips and cookies and crackers, anything that virtually comes in a box and a bag inside of a box and all of that, right? So transitioning your diet and your nutrition can really be helpful, but you also need to be willing to cook more. You need to make sure you're getting really good sleep. You need to make sure you're managing stress levels in a way that works for you, getting some exercise, getting some clean air outside, getting some outside time even when it's cold. All of these things can help you overall heal your gut microbiome, bring your body back into balance. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And you've got to be patient with your body as it makes this transition through all of this. So in terms of teas, we can actually incorporate teas into our daily nutritional regimen to help offset some of the symptoms we might occur as we're making this transition, to also help heal and repair our gut lining and things like that. And first and foremost, Sipology has their Heal Thyself line of teas. These are medicinal teas that have been approved by the US FDA. They are phenomenal, and they've been tested and scientifically researched and backed by science, indicating that they will actually do what they say they're going to do. And the first one I want to tell you about is the Detoxification tea, the Detox tea. And this is an herbal-based tea, okay? It has burdock root, licorice root, and aniseed in it. And when it comes to licorice and burdock, you really should be careful not to overconsume these two particular ingredients. So when you use the Detox tea, which I don't have the bag with me, but it's in the catalog, you'll find it on the website under the Heal Thyself teas as well. But when you use the detox tea, you don't want to use it for a prolonged period of time, right? Definitely not more than a week, but I would recommend using it maybe for 3 days, 5 days max, 1 to 2 times a day, and then put it away for a few months. I like to incorporate it on a quarterly basis. So once every 4 months, or 3 or 4 months, I like to do sort of a gentle detox on my system. And what that means is eating all whole foods, no packaged, no processed, no sugars, none of the junk whatsoever, all whole foods, lots and lots of water, and teas to help me kind of bring everything back into balance, right? Part of a detox type, but not detox as in drinking fluids all day, right? It's a normal eating routine, but with good whole foods, right? And incorporating the detox tea is a part of that. So that's one way you can do that, but it is important to consume whole foods when you're doing any sort of detox. It's just the healthiest way to do that. Eating whole foods is really going to help train your gut what to do with what you're consuming. So, all right. So that's the first one. And then the next one I wanted to talk to you about is the quest to digest. So we had the detox, which can really help heal our gut lining, right? And then we have our quest to digest tea. And I actually had a bag of this. This is Milo, everybody. Say hi, Milo. I have a bag of this downstairs, and the quest to digest, I'm looking for it in the catalog here, which actually don't see it in the catalog, but we do have the quest to digest. But this is a perfect tea to help settle your stomach. So let's say you've eaten something that really upset your digestive system, right? You start getting that kind of burning feeling, that acidity. You can tell it's kind of out of balance, maybe cramping. You can just tell you've got some digestive stress going on. If we eat something like a greasy pizza or something that my body's not really used to eating, I get those symptoms a lot. And if I drink the quest to digest, within the hour, I am feeling settled. My stomach isn't mad at me so much anymore. And the quest to digest tea has cinnamon, ginger, licorice, peppermint, lemon balm, sweet fennel, hibiscus flower, and citrus peel, which are all ingredients that we talked about earlier when it came to our digestive health. So I like the quest to digest, but again, it's not something I drink every day. I use it when I'm feeling like I've had something and my system is a little upset with me. So the third tea in the Heal Thyself line that I want to talk about is the inflammation fighter tea. And this is really promoted as helping with inflammation in your joints, your mobility, things like that. But it's also great for inflammation in your gut. It's got turmeric, cinnamon bark, calendula, ginger root, caraway seeds, black pepper, black tea, rooibos tea, and cloves. So that is another good one. Again, not meant to be used all the time. These are medicinal teas. Medicinal teas aren't necessarily meant for daily use, but they are great to have available to you when you need it, and you'll know when your digestive system is upset with you. So outside of the medicinal teas, we also have some other teas that you could incorporate into your everyday tea drinking routines and your nutritional regimens. And the first I want to talk about is the lemon ginger Teatox tea. This one has lemongrass, ginger, and rose petals. And it is an herbal tea, so it's caffeine free. Great to incorporate into a nightly wind down routine, or even as an iced tea, maybe in the afternoon or with your dinner. But these ingredients will really help heal your gut, especially if you drink it alongside a nutritious whole food diet. So that's the lemon ginger Teatox tea. Excuse me. We also have the Zingy Ginger, which is an herbal tea that's got cinnamon, black pepper, cloves, cardamom, and ginger. So you're hearing ginger is a pretty popular ingredient in these teas. Ginger Lemon Sunshine is a green tea that has ginger bits, lemon peels, and lemongrass. Here's what I want to share with you about this one. So If you're a morning tea drinker, this is a great one to incorporate into your morning routine because ginger lemon sunshine is a green tea, which means it will give you a sustained level of caffeine, of energy throughout the day. But studies show that by incorporating warm water with lemon in the mornings, it really helps kickstart your digestive system, right? It helps get things moving for the day. So this is a great one to incorporate into your morning routine. Now, this next one is Immunity Booster. And this is one of my all-time favorite wind down teas. It's soothing, it's cooling yet warming at the same time. It's got all of the ingredients to really promote good gut flora, or good gut bugs, right? In our gut microbiomes. It's got licorice, cinnamon, burdock root, ginger, dandelion root, fennel, aniseed, juniper berries, coriander, black pepper, parsley, sage, cloves, and turmeric. I love this tea. I was drinking it every night till I ran out, and unfortunately the tea itself is out of stock. So I've been checking, I check all the time to see when it's back in stock. It's not back in stock yet. But if you want me to notify you when this particular tea, it's called Immunity Booster, is back in stock, drop a comment below and say, yes, notify me, and I'll add you to my list. I've got a couple of people on it already who want me to let them know when it's available. Like I said, I check all the time, keep waiting. I'm just waiting for it to come back in stock. So that's one of my favorites. Okay, so a couple of other teas, and I'm not going to go into detail on these, but I'm going to mention them so you know what to look for. Don't Worry, Be Happy, which is another herbal tea. Cinnamon chai. The chai ingredients tend to be really good gut promoting, gut healing ingredients. So cinnamon chai, which is a black tea, cinnamon bun rooibos tea, and then lastly is our kombucha. Now, admittedly, I've never tried the kombucha at home kit from Sapology. I have not tried to make kombucha myself. Many people do it using the kombucha kit from Sapology. But kombucha itself is a terrific thing to incorporate into your everyday routine because it's a fermented tea that is really good for our guts. It's probiotics, which really is great for helping to heal our guts, right? Any sort of fermented food or fermented tea, and introducing that into your gut microbiome is going to help those good gut flora flourish, right? Now, a kombucha base, you can kind of think of it as like a sparkling apple cider, but you can flavor kombucha however you want. Now, I've actually, like I said, never made kombucha at home ever, but I have purchased kombucha in the stores, and I do love to incorporate, not a lot, but just a little glass or a little bit. And I don't even do it every day, but 4 or 5 times a week is great for your gut. If you were to decide you wanted to try making kombucha at home, they do offer absolutely everything you need to make it at home, and they have a private Facebook group where you can get in there with other kombucha makers and share tips on how to make it and recipes and all kinds of support, helping each other through the process. So kombucha is another really great option as well. Okay, this was a long video. I talked a lot about our gut health. I know there's probably a lot of questions, and there's, like I said, there's so much that you could go into detail-wise with your gut health, and this is just brushing the surface. So if you have questions, let me know. I'll drop a separate post with some of the teas I recommended. And then I also have a question from somebody about, is there a certain time of day that it's better to consume teas versus other times of the day, and how does all of that work? I'm going to do a separate video about that specific question, just because this video is so long and I don't want that to get lost in here. So stay tuned for that next video. But thank you for joining me for Tea Talk Tuesday. I hope you guys found this information useful. Again, questions, let me know. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.